I'm Jason with the All Things Open team. We're here with Rachel Lee. We're going to talk about agentic web, how to get started in open source, and more. Rachel Lee, please introduce yourself to the All Things Open community.
Oh, hi there. I'm Rachel Lee Nabors, and I use they, them pronouns. You may remember me from projects like React. React.dev was my pandemic baby. React Native.dev was too, if we're honest, but who's counting? I used to do a lot in the the open web, especially with browsers like Mozilla and Edge, and currently I am working on the agentic web. Got a tiny company in Palo Alto I collaborate with that builds AgentQL.
Sounds great. Well, let's dive into that agentic web stuff. What excites you about it, and why should people be paying attention to it?
So the exciting thing about the agentic web is we have a couple of challenges with the way we've been using the web for now. For one thing, we're using browsers to browse the web, but most of the web is no longer browsed. It's kept on platforms, and we use the browsers to access those platforms where our activities are traded for our data. And, this is common. This was always bound to happen, especially with ad tech, et cetera. But it hasn't changed much over the past 10 years. We haven't gotten micropayments. We still have to use a search engine to find new content or recommendation engines from platforms. Everything is pay to play. If there's not an ad sitting first thing in your timeline, well, it'll be the first thing in your search results. It's getting harder and harder for us to connect with the people and the resources we are looking for on purpose. And so agents offer a possibility of a new way for us to access the sum total of human information and the people we love without necessarily delegating that task to a third party. A personal agent can do all those things for you and navigate through the sponsor soup on your behalf.
Well, let's talk more about this agentic web. What are some of the key challenges that need to be addressed before it becomes more of a reality?
There are a couple of challenges. The first one would be that we definitely need to come up with an authentication use case. It's still a bit of a gray area to create your own agent and have it access your LinkedIn profile for you. If you look at LinkedIn's T's and C's, they're very no to bots. With good reason, bots are often used for nefarious purposes, but this is the first time in human history where a person might have a personal bot that they want to say, this bot is acting on my behalf. It's going to be clicking around, it's going to be submitting to jobs, it's going to be reading people's resumes, and that's you're going to have to be okay with that. And I have a feeling that platforms are going to fight that tooth and nail, and the first signs of that fight you're going to see are going to be, a vertical, only on this platform agents. It's the Salesforce agent. It's the LinkedIn agent. It's the Facebook agent. Don't you want to work with our tiny little agent that it's like a trussed up API and it has no interop with other platforms? The brilliant thing about web agents is that they're interoperable by default. It can get data from one web page and combine it with data from another web page. So authentication is going to be one of those first challenges to really legitimize these things. But we don't actually need that because there's so many ways to get around all the authentication challenges, and AI just makes them easier. It's very easy to set up an automation with your credentials that logs into a form on your behalf. It's very easy to buy proxy rotators or CAPTCHA solvers and put them on top of your agent. This is a tide that platforms won't be able to stem. They do not have the ability. They do not have the resources to whack every mole that will be coming. So I think that's the sequence we'll see that problem coming in before finally it'll be like, fine, okay, OAuth 2, you can delegate to your agent. We'll publish things through MCP. And that's the second thing. We need a protocol that agents can understand. There's two ways this can go. Either MCP will see large adoption. It'll be kind of like the SEO of the future because maybe you have a site that does florist deliveries, etc. And if you incorporate an MCP server, suddenly a person's browser that's using an agent can come over and be like, I would like to see what your inventory is. I would like to purchase this thing. And it's a lovely little way that your agent can collaborate with a third party. Now, the challenge there, of course, is are people going to make MCP servers any more than they're going to make APIs? Most people don't build APIs for their mom and pop store. I think we will see an investment in MCP servers simply because it's kind of like SEO for agents. It makes you more discoverable. Agents know what to do. But for the most part, until then, most agents can figure out, using various integrations like AgentQLs, figure out how to use a web page if there's no API or MCP that they can access. So I think those are the two issues. It's just surfacing the content to the agents and also giving them blessed permission to access your particular account on the different existing platforms.
This is amazing. My brain is going in 1,000 different directions. Let's drill down a little bit more. For those not familiar with it, can you briefly explain what AgentQL is?
Oh, sure, no problem. So AgentQL is it's inspired by GraphQL. It's a little language that you can use to extract information and elements from any web page. You write out the query, use natural language, you just describe the content you want to see, like product name, price, and description. You send it with the URL as a query, and you get back all the content on the page. It does a little round trip to the AgentQL servers, where our AI goes ham on the page's markup through the accessibility tree. Actually, that's one of the differentiators, is that we access the content through the accessibility tree as opposed to screenshots, etc. We got SDKs for Python, for JavaScript, a REST API, and 6 awesome integrations that we just launched last week for LangChain, Llama Index, Diffie, AgentStack. I'm missing one. LangFlow is in there as well, and also we've got an MCP server.
Very cool. There's a lot of discussion about AI's role in development these days. Do you think AI will replace developers?
Yes and no. I mean, did photography replace painters? Absolutely. We do not require painters to paint pictures of far-off lands anymore. People use their phones. And did phones replace professional photographers? In many instances, yes. You do not hire a professional photographer to take pictures of your food for your website now. But I think we'll see similar things here. I think AI will definitely lower the bar to create things, which is not a bad thing. I remember in the old days, like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, when people were like, the dream is that anybody could have a presence online, anybody could build an app, and now here we are, and we're like, will it take away our jobs? It's like, I thought that was the point. I thought we wanted everybody to be able to author things and to share and to build their own solutions. I thought this was a good thing. And I think it overall is. I definitely think that we'll always have engineers, but our engineers are going to become increasingly more adept in the same way that we had CSS specialists. I was one of them for a long time. And then as CSS became more standardized and, people started using design systems, which were highly reusable, they needed more expertise and less just somebody who can sling some tailwind around. And so CSS slowly became absorbed into full stack. And the tooling story reflected that. I think we'll see that as well with engineering, especially with development, where more and more of what we used to need someone with a specialist knowledge about is just going to be something that a generalist developer can do with the assistance of some power tools that have AI baked into them.
What's your advice to someone who's just getting started with open source today?
So this is interesting. One of the things I've noticed from the open source community, being active in the React and React Native open source communities, is the propensity for someone to latch on to something that they started working on early in their career. And then by the end of their career, it has either done one of two things, possibly both. It's either opened doors for them to have great jobs at, companies that are investing in open source and they want a maintainer. They want someone on the inside doing it for them because, oh my God, you wouldn't believe how much of Microsoft uses React Native. And the React Native team at Meta is actually quite lightweight, but the React Native team at Microsoft is quite large, and they hire from the React Native community frequently, which means if you really want to work at Microsoft, contributing to React Native and getting really good with it's a great place to start, right? But then on the other hand, I've also just as often watched people give everything of themselves without limit or without boundary to their projects and get burned out. So I suppose my advice would be pick something that people really need, that solves a problem that's really salient to you to contribute to. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Find something that, preferably with other people, you can believe in and they need your help. There are plenty of projects out there that need your help. And then also remember to have some boundaries. Don't spend all of your energy on just this one thing, Remember to be a real person.
I think that's great advice. Thanks for sharing. What's one tip, best practice, or a piece of advice that you'd like to share with the All Things Open community?
That is a good question. This is hard because I always have a bunch. I'll go with the one that always springs up close to my mind. Learn how to get good at placing bets. The difference between hope and wishful thinking is that wishful thinking is when you wish something was different, but you don't have a path to it. And hope is when you wish something was different and there is a path to it. This will happen and it will unlock this future state that I want. Or I could do this and it would unlock that. Learn to tell the difference between those two. It'll help you make much better bets. Always ask, how do we get there from here and what needs to happen? And that can help you not bet on technologies, roles, life paths that don't go anywhere. And there's a great book called Thinking in Bets, which if you like the way I'm thinking here, definitely give that one a check, because it definitely helps record the decision you made, why you made it, and then revisit it and see, were you correct in your assumptions? And if not, what internal parts of your own model do you need to update? What weights do you need to rebalance inside?
That's fascinating. Thanks so much for your time today, Rachel Lee. We really appreciate it.
And thank you for having me. It's been awesome to be here.
Great. Thank you.